What it do, familia? It's your boy Taxi PNG, and we are back at it again with another one. Today, we are talking about the top things that I would do if I were to start over my photography business, and if I wanted to start from number one thing to do. First, as a photographer, you need a camera. So I would recommend you getting a mirrorless camera, okay? The DSLRs and everything back in the day, we need something new age now. So I feel like a mirrorless camera, if I were to personally restart, I would get a mirrorless camera first, because my first camera was this one right here. This is not a mirrorless camera. A mirrorless camera, you guys, I'm gonna show you the difference between a mirrorless and a non-mirrorless camera. As you guys can see right inside of here, this is not a mirrorless camera. This is a mirrored camera, LOL. This is a DSLR camera. This is the T6i. Don't get me wrong, the T6i is still a powerhouse of a camera. You're able to use it in multiple different scenarios. It really doesn't have any limits to it, but the reason why I say mirrorless is because the mirrorless comes with full frame. It's not an APS-C or anything like that. APS-C are cropped censored cameras, and full frame cameras are these mirrorless cameras. So you're gonna be able to get the full frame image in there without it being cropped at all. So let's say, for example, I don't know where my lens is right now, but if I have a 50mm lens on a cropped camera, it's really gonna come out to like 70mm almost, like, because it's so cropped. Like, it's gonna do that extra crop on it or that extra zoom in, and that's not what you want. You want a 50mm to be a true 50mm, and we're gonna talk about the 50mm later in this video. So looking at this one right here, this is a mirrorless camera. This is the Canon Rebel. No, it's not the Canon Rebel. This is the Canon EOS RP, you guys, and you can see that's a mirrorless camera. This is a full frame, so that's an entire frame that will be capturing the image when the photos are taken. This is my first camera. This is my second camera. You guys are now on my third camera, LOL. But I've had like a first, and we're not gonna talk about those. It was the same camera as this one. The T6 series is a different variation. Casper, stop! It's raining outside and he's like messing with the carpet. I don't know what's wrong with him, man. But yeah, so the first thing, mirrorless camera. You need a camera to be a photographer. That's what you need, you know what I'm saying? Second thing that I'm gonna say is lenses. We always talk about camera, you have to talk about a lens. You can't just buy a camera. If you just buy a camera, a lot of them come with no lenses and just the body. So you're gonna have this, and you're gonna take people's pictures like you're taking pictures of heaven. It's gonna look insane. Okay, it's gonna look insane. You don't want that. So lenses, right? My recommendations for lenses are the 24 to 70mm and the 50mm lens. Whichever camera line you're working with, they're gonna have these two variations. And even if they don't, you could get an off-brand lens that's not on the same brand as them. You can get a Tamron lens or a DG lens or Sigma. I personally have a Sony a7S III that you guys are on right now, and I have the 24 to 70 Sigma lens to go with the Sony lens, and it has the same mount. You just got to make sure that whatever the camera is you're going to be getting has the same mount. Okay, so if it's an E mount camera, make sure it has an E mount lens, so that way it fits. If it's an RF mount, wrong camera. If it's an RF mount camera, make sure it has an RF mount lens, okay? So don't waste your time, you guys. Don't buy the wrong mounted lens for the wrong camera, okay? Lenses, 24 to 70, nifty 50. They call the 50mm the nifty 50. No matter what brand you're working on, Nikon, Sony, Canon, no matter what it is, they're gonna have a nifty 50 in that line, okay? And even if they don't, go ahead and get you a Tamron or a Viltrox or a different brand. The nifty 50 is a number one go-to. You have to have it in your camera bag, and it's the cheapest lens I think they ever made, honestly, in any line that you can have. So it's gonna be the sharpest image, probably 1.8, 1.2 in some cases. I don't think I've seen a 2.8, but 1.8, 1.4. I got a 1.4. Like, bro, when I'm telling you, like, it's definitely worth it. Let me know in the comments if you guys have that nifty 50, if you guys use it. Let somebody else know how good and how in any pinch of any time you can use that nifty 50, because it's gonna get you the sharpest image possible in a pinch. And then the 24 to 70 is going to be for that versatility. If you are getting in close, you want to get in far, you can zoom in to 70mm and you can zoom out to 24 very quickly without having to change your lenses, okay? And the 50mm lens is a prime lens. A prime lens is a lens that is at a fixed focal length, and it does not change. A zoom lens is not at a fixed focal length, and it does change. So 24 to 70 is a zoom lens. The 50mm flat is a prime lens, okay? So on to the next thing, you guys. You have your camera, you have your lens, you have your, I don't have a lens, I have a lens on this one. You have your camera, you have your lens. Now you're gonna, you take photos. Yeah, you know that. But what are you editing these photos with? that's another thing that you're going to need as well as a beginner photographer is an editing software. Okay, you can go with Lightroom, which everyone uses, and you can use Lightroom Classic or the Lightroom that I use, which is the regular standard Lightroom, or you can use Lightroom Mobile. You can utilize Lightroom Mobile. The only thing about Lightroom Mobile is that it does not have as many features as Lightroom on the desktop. Lightroom Mobile is a free version of the Lightroom that we have on the desktop, but it does not have all of the features, okay? It doesn't have all the advanced features like it just doesn't have all the advanced features. If you guys want a video on that, I have some on the channel, me editing in Lightroom and stuff like that. You guys can go check that out, okay? So editing software. It doesn't have to be an Adobe software either. I know there's a lot of other ones that are out there that you can also use, but you need an editing software to be able to change the lighting and the tones of your camera. Okay, boom. You got an editing software, you got a camera, you got a lens. What's the next thing? I'm not gonna try to get too technical into this. I'm not gonna try to get too technical. I'm gonna keep going down the line, and then I might come back a little bit, and then I might talk, because I was gonna talk about some camera settings, but we're talking about the basics that you need, so I'm not gonna try to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep going down. Next, as a photographer, if you're running a photography business, you're gonna need a booking site. Okay, personally, I use Acuity Scheduling. Acuity Scheduling is a portion of, well, it's a break-off sister app, LOL, of Squarespace, and Squarespace is, I love Squarespace. I use Squarespace, right? So Acuity is the scheduling process that I use, and I used to use Square because Square was free. You can use Square starting off if you would like, but Square does have its limitations being that it's free. A lot of these free softwares are always going to have their limitations, and you're going to use them so much up, and you're going to be limited, okay? And you don't want to be limited when you need to get these things out. Or you're trying to make this bread, you're trying to make this cheese, you're trying to, get these clients scheduled. You want everything to move smoothly and efficiently. You don't need any discrepancies when trying to book or when trying to give somebody a contract or something like that. You don't need any problems. You need everything moving smoothly, okay? So you got your camera, you got your lens, now you got your editing software, and now you got your Acuity Scheduling. You can also use something like Honeybook or one of the Booksy or another app like that, but I just know that, or yeah, you can use one of those apps, but the next app that I'm going to talk about as well that I use also has a scheduling feature. So if you want to use a bundle it packed up, you can do that as well, but that's on the next step, you guys. So Acuity, the reason why I like Acuity is because it puts everything in a format that I like. Like, it allows people to book, it allows them to have add-ons, right? It allows you to have add-ons and create add-ons for your customers and for your clients that are trying to book with you. You can put time slots, you can directly connect it to your calendar app, whether that's Google app or Apple app, or Apple Calendar, LOL, or both Google Calendar and Apple Calendar. You can mend that together. That's what I do, so that way I have it on all of my devices and I never get confused. And you can have it to where it blocks off time automatically, so that way nobody else can book within that time slot. You can do a lot with this, okay? That's a whole lot for another video. If you guys want any more information on any of these, just let me know in the comments and I will just dive deeper into any of these, okay? So the next one, right, is you got your client booking software, right? The next thing that you're gonna need is a client turnaround software. You take the photos, you got the editing software, you got the lens, you know what I mean? They booked you through Acuity. Now, how are you gonna give them their photos? Google Drive? No. If I was starting out, I would not use Google Drive, okay? I started out, I used Google Drive, then I transferred to Dropbox, you know what I'm saying? All of these are like cool and stuff like that, but that's like, I use that when I'm working with like corporations or big businesses. But when you're working with individuals, people don't wanna do all that extra stuff, and now you got all the files over here sitting in Dropbox. To me, when I first started, I thought it was good and I thought I was being professional, but now I look back at it, I was being amateur. I was being unprofessional, okay? The best way for you to give your clients their software, their photos, their images, their videos once they're done, or even before they're done, when you're culling the images still, is using Pixieset. Okay, I use Pixieset for every single one of my clients, whether it's paid, whether it's collab, whether I travel somewhere and I do some shots of people, random people, and give everything. Okay, and if you have bigger files like video files or something like that, another client software that I use is WeTransfer. Okay, WeTransfer and Pixieset, those are my babies when it comes to giving clients their files, because I'm able to store a high amount of files without them really breaking my pockets. And you can have them open and you can schedule so much different stuff within both, right? So Pixieset, you're able to return the client software. So for example, I take a photo, boom, 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 boom. I do a whole photo shoot. I'm able to put all of the photos, the JPEG images, you guys, into the collection for them to see. I can title it. I can put a lock on it if I want to. I can even put a watermark on it if I want to. There's so many different things that I can do within Pixieset that I couldn't do in Dropbox or Google Drive. I can do so many technical things, and the best part about it is it looks so professional. So once people are dealing with you and doing business with you, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, he's professional, she's professional. She gave me my photos in a link, in a web link. Like, it just, oh my gosh, like, it looks so personal to me. If you do a wedding, you can make it nice and mixed up. You can do so much different stuff within Pixieset, and this is the software that I was talking about. Also, if you didn't want to use Honeybook or you didn't want to use Acuity, they also have a partner app within Pixieset that you can use as well, which is an add-on, but you can use that as well to go ahead and, like, you know, book your client and stuff like that. I use that for a while too. I use so much different stuff just try to find out what was the best system for me and what was the most comfortable for me when doing everything. So I ended up using Acuity for the scheduling portion, but then I stayed with Pixieset for my client turnaround photos because it was the best, and it was the easiest thing to use. I was able to use it on my phone. I was able to use it through all different devices. Anybody could download their photos. It was just a lot easier. They could connect it to their Google Photos, to the Apple Photos, and just download them directly to their phone. It was a whole lot easier. Okay, you got your camera, you got your photos, you got your turnaround software, you got your editing software. So now for the next thing that we are going to need is, let's talk about a little bit more gear, right? So as a photographer, our job is to capture light. So how are we capturing light without a source of light? And it's best to have a source of light on your person when you're traveling, or if you're out on location, or even in studio. I recommend the V1 Godox flash. Okay, I'm gonna grab mine and show you guys. This is my Godox V1 flash, you guys. I recommend this V1 simply because, like, bro, it's the best flash that I've had. Okay, you can put it on your camera, you can take it off your camera, you can get a dome diffuser for it and a whole bunch of different attachments to just snap right on the top. And I just feel like this is just, like, it's unmatched. Like, I feel like nothing can really beat this, okay? Like, bro, I had this one before, right? So this is the one that I had before I got the V1. So these are both Godox cameras, flashes. This one is a V860 Mark II. This was for my Canon that I have for my Canon. I still have it. I still use it for my Canon as well. But the V1, I noticed that it spreads light a lot more evenly, being that it's a circle. So it just goes straight out, phlegm. It can go up, phlegm. This one right here is a rectangle, so it's gonna spread out light a lot less evenly, but it still is a good flash, you know, don't get me wrong. But you can put this inside of your lighting modifier, your Bowen's mount, and use it off camera as well with a lighting trigger. You don't necessarily need to worry about the trigger and all of that stuff right now. I'm telling you guys the essentials if I were just getting into photography, the basics that I need. Now you have all of that, you got the basics, you got the lighting. We're gonna take one step back, and now we're gonna talk about a website. Because you take all these photos, you need somewhere to put them on display for people to wanna book you, right? Well, you might use Instagram and you think Instagram's cool, but that Instagram can get snatched away from you at any point in time. So what I recommend is getting you a website. You can use multiple different sites. I used to use GoDaddy at first, but then I transitioned and I stuck with Squarespace, right? So I love Squarespace. Squarespace, the reason why I really love them so much is because they directly connect with Acuity scheduling. So Acuity, Squarespace, they connect right away, and on one app, one web browser, I'm able to edit both of these. I can edit my website and different stuff like that. If you guys want to check out my website, go ahead and look down below. It's taxipng.com. Take a little scroll, take a little gander about how I played everything and put everything in different parts and stuff like that, so you can see how it's all laid out and just get a feel for Squarespace and how it is. But it allows me to upload so many different photos. I try to keep it up to date daily. I can sell things on there. I can schedule appointments on there. I can create so many different collections of photos. I love, it's just me. Like, I can put my entire self on there and show every bit of my, like, artistic process. I can put some videos on there. You can put so many different links from your Instagram. It just connects directly with everything. My YouTube channel, like, it's just so many different things that I love with Squarespace. And I just feel like it was built for artists and photographers, so that's really why I use them so much. And yeah. Now, lastly, but not last and finally, and last, but you need a good SD card, all right? So I'm not even gonna tell you guys exactly which one to use or anything like that, but the SD cards that I use are SanDisk cards, right? So I use SanDisk cards. Hold on, wait a minute. Let's see what they're doing. Let's see what they're gonna do. They're gonna do it. Is they gonna do it? Is they gonna do it? Bam! I use SanDisk cards. You can use the SanDisk cards where the small little, like, micro SD comes out of the big SD. You can use that. Or you can use like, you know, just the big one that kind of comes by itself without it having to go to micro. I use micro because sometimes if the big reader can't read it, I can still get the information from the small one. That's just me sometimes, but I don't always use micro. Like in the camera that I'm using right now, I have the standard SD size because sometimes it's a regular SD. That one's an expensive SD, honestly. I wouldn't recommend it too much, but just get you a quality SD card. A lot of the times, the cheaper the SD card is, it's not that good, but the more expensive it is, the more likely that if something does go wrong or if your footage corrupts, you'll probably be able to get it back on that higher quality, a little bit more expensive SD card. So the cheaper ones, yes, they're cool, but you want to get you one that's a good quality. Do you some research on there. If you guys want, I can make a whole video on that. That's something totally different. I can make a video on that as well, okay? And while closing it up, you know what I'm saying? As a photographer, you need a quality tripod, all right? Let me grab one of the tripods that I use. I'm not gonna show you guys the one that I have on there right now because that's a crazy expensive tripod and I wouldn't necessarily recommend that as a first starter out. But I do have this one tripod that I can show you guys that I love and that I've been using for so long. All right, this is a tripod. This is a lighting stand. I'm getting tired of seeing people use the lighting stand as a tripod. This is a lighting stand. This is not a tripod. Don't put your camera up here because it will fall. Do not think that it won't fall. It will fall. All right? It's going to fall. The legs don't spread out long enough for it to be able to stabilize your camera. It's going to fall. But this is the tripod that I would recommend. These legs come down. Don't get intimidated by the length. But these legs come down. It's very nice, compact, and it's a Joil can tripod. I love this thing. Let me open it back up for you guys. Let me show you. So it opens up just like so. And at the bottom, it has this little hook for you. Like you could put a book bag or a sand bag or something to weigh it down even more to make it stay. This top does not come on it. I put this on here. There's a whole bunch of extra stuff. Don't look at this part. This is just what I be using. But you can loosen this up and you can pull this top up so you can make it even taller. You can loosen the next part up, pull that up, make it even taller. So yeah, I love this. It goes up to like, I think almost, it goes up to a little bit over my height, you know what I'm saying? And I'm 6'3", so I ain't gonna lie, that's a pretty good height, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then it goes down pretty low. It's a pretty good like compact tripod. It runs at like $60, I think, but it's definitely worth it. I bought 3 for no reason. Like when I first seen it and I first started, I was like, bet. I was like, I got the cameras. I need one staying in the studio. I need one in my car, and I need one on my person. I need it. That's just how much I liked it when I first started. I don't know. Shout out to Joil Can. You know what I'm saying? But for now, that's it. You got the essentials. That's really all you need to start your photography business and get it going on a roll. Okay, so let me know if this helped you guys. I really hope so. And if there's any more experienced shooters out there watching right now, go ahead and leave down in the comments something that I may have left out that I can add into another video or that will help some of these beginners out here. Okay, you guys, I can go over beginner tech and different things like that you can also have, or beginner like gear or little stuff like that would be very helpful for you to have. If you guys want to see that in a later video, I can create that for you. So thank you guys again for watching. Make sure to share it with a photographer, videographer, or anybody that can find this information in this video as helpful. Until next time, taxi!